What's up guys, I'm Joe. Today we're going to show you twin automated swing gates. Alright, so we're here on site with a job we just finished up with these not one but two automatic swing gates. And today we're going to talk about the positioning and placements of the gates themselves. Then two, we're going to talk about the nuts and bolts of an automated swing gate. And then three, we're going to talk about the accessory options that you have with a gate setup like this. So hey, let's go get into it. All right, so on the planning and positioning of the gates themselves, with this property in particular, there you can see is two drives, so it circles around, and they wanted to be able to secure both drives. So with this setup, we've got this gate here with the keypad, which serves as like the inflow or the entry gate, and then circles around, and that serves as more or less the exit gate as you're exiting the property. So that's a good point of wanting to analyze and look at the flow of traffic. Now, it's not as common to have two gates necessarily. I'd say more common when you've got a single gate at the entry of a property. But with that, you still want to know, okay, how are people going to get in? How are people going to get out? But here, yeah, you've got a nice flow of getting in with the keypad and being able to exit here. Now, if you'll notice, the gates in relation to the fence and the highway behind us is the gates are offset from the road a little bit. So that is intentional and something you want to consider when you're wanting to, where you're placing your gate, because with this, you want to have, typically you want to have enough room to get a vehicle and maybe even a vehicle and a trailer, depending on what you've got coming in, to be able to get off of the road and then still have room to have access to the keypad and get through the gate without sticking out into the road. All right, so for the nuts and bolts of an automated swing gate, this is, as we said, a swing gate, which means that it swings open. We've talked about some of the other options of like a slide gate. We've demonstrated some of those, but this one is a swing gate. Swing gates are the most popular and most common setup, and that is usually due to just the simplicity of the setup. Now you can see as it opens, you've got to have room for the gate to swing, but a swing gate setup is going to consist of a post that you set, and it's very important on how you set this post, how you size this post, and how deep you set this post. And then it's going to have a set of hinges, as you can see here. These that we use on these gates are a really heavy duty ball bearing hinge. So these have two bearings in them and are rated for several hundred pounds, and are just these are very good, very heavy duty hinge. But when you're designing your system, the hinge is very important. So you got your post, you got your hinge, and then obviously the gate, and that allows the gate to swing open and closed. And then with the automatic or automated feature of this is a max control ultra arm is this model, and it's got a actuator arm. So actually we can go around, I can show you a little bit better. So what the actuator arm refers to is the motor or arm itself. So in these actuator arm setups, the motor is actually housed in this arm, and then you can see this cylinder or piston, it extends to close the gate. So right now, that gate, we opened it with the keypad. It's set up on a timer, so it just timed out, and then now is closing back. So as that arm extends out, it moves that gate in the closed position, and then vice versa on the opening. From this position, if you gave it a command from the keypad or a remote, or if you had set up like a cell setup to do it from your phone, whenever you open it, this arm is gonna retract and open up. And then we just talked about that this one's set up on a timer, So you got two different ways to set that up. You can set it up on a timer where it opens for anywhere from 1 to 90 seconds and then automatically closes back. Or you can set it up like your garage door where you give it a command to open and then it stays open till you give it a command to close. So that's kind of the setup of the arm and the motor. What you see here too behind me is the solar panel, which powers this, and then the control box here, which houses the control board, a set of batteries, and all the wiring for this setup. So this one here is a solar setup, which is a great setup. We've had a lot of success with a solar setup. When you're considering solar, you just need to make sure that you've got good southern exposure. So the way this property sits, north is directly this way. So we've got our solar panel facing directly south in order to get that sun as it moves across the sky and get good sun coverage throughout the day. But so you do, that is probably one of the biggest caveats to the solar, is just making sure you've got a good clear area that you can get good southern sun exposure. Then the other option for this is if you didn't have good southern exposure or you're wanting to just run power out to the gate, you could have a similar setup with the arm like this, and you'd still have a control box like this, but you would have to run 120 volt power to the box here that would operate the gate. Now, interesting enough, whether it's solar or power, it works similar because it still works off of the two batteries that are in here. So the system is a DC system, which means direct current, so it's working off those batteries, and then the solar panel or the incoming power is just charging those batteries. But why that matters to you is that if you did have an interruption of power or the solar panel wasn't getting sun for just a short period of time, then those batteries are going to have a certain amount of charge or power in them that would still allow the gate to operate and work until that power was restored. So you have a little bit of period there that you can have a battery backup to where the gate will operate some off of those batteries if need be. All right, so I can give you kind of a sneak peek inside here. This is the main control board. So all the electronics and everything are wired in here. The batteries that I mentioned are back here behind it. There's two sets, or I say a set of two batteries back here. And then we've got so your motor or your arm is wired in, and then this here is your receiver, which is what communicates with the keypad and then remotes that you would have. And yeah, then the power also, so you can see the power from the solar panel is coming in here and is wired into this regulator that then feeds those batteries. So that's a little inside look of the electronics and the setup for something like this. Okay, then on accessories for a swing gate like this, we can talk through. Now here we have the keypad that I showed you. This is the most common. This is actually a wireless keypad, so it's battery operated. There's a 9-volt battery in here that operates this, that then communicates with the receiver that we just saw in the box. So that works a lot like similar to a remote that you put the code in that's programmed and it triggers the receiver to open the gate. Now on a solar setup, this is very common because this is battery powered and it's not an additional electrical draw from the batteries in the motor. But if you did have power run out here, you could have some other keypad options of either a hardwired keypad or specifically like a keypad that would either have intercom or call features on it, where you could push the call button from the keypad, somebody calls you and to your phone, and then you could from your phone allow them entry or not. So those are options as well, but those, just keep in mind, if you do a call feature keypad like that, you're gonna need some power to it. So you would either need a whole separate solar setup for it, or you would need to run power to be able to have those capabilities with that. So, and some of those have picture integrated in them, to where when they hit the call button, it takes a picture of who's at the keypad for you. Some of them even have video integrated, to where when they hit the call button, you get a short stream of video to see who's at the keypad. So those are some really good options. Nowadays, everybody usually has a cell phone. So if you didn't want to go full out on a keypad setup that had a call feature built into it, then you could have something as simple as a call sign to have them call on your cell phone. And then there are options to hook up to the operator that essentially is a remote bridge or a remote access, to where you would have an app on your phone, and then if somebody called you from the gate, you could talk to them, and then on your phone you could hit open or close or control it from your phone. And those now are actually cell-based, so they work like a cell phone does with like a SIM card. So you don't have to have, you know, additional phone lines or anything run for something like that. And then also that part with the cellular bridge or the app is solar compatible. So if you didn't want to have to run power out to the gate and you had a solar setup, you can still do a setup with the app on your phone, and that allows you to open or close and set up schedules and remotely access the gate from anywhere that you are. So those are kind of the main things: either a keypad, the cell hub, which is the remote access from your phone, and then there's also exit sensors and things. Now this one is an entry with the loop, so there's not an exit sensor on this, but you could, on the inside of the property, if you had the space in the room, you could put an exit probe or exit loop that would allow someone in their vehicle to pull up within that area and then automatically open the gate to allow them to leave. So those are the most common kind of accessories. Would be how are you going to let people in, keypad or remote? Do you want an app access for remote viewing or a remote control of the gate, and then any kind of exit sensors to allow a vehicle to leave the property without having a remote or you having to let them out. And then so that's the main kind of accessories that you would go through and consider. Now you also have safeties on this. So like here on a swing gate, you're going to have a photo eye, which is a beam that is shooting. It's transmitting from here over to that reflector and reflecting back. And this works the exact same thing as like the sensors on your garage door, that similar to the garage door, if the garage door is coming down and that beam gets broken, it's going to stop and open up. And here, if this gate is closing and this beam gets broken, it's going to stop and open back up, just as a safety, that it doesn't close into something that's still in the gate opening right here. All right, thanks for checking out these gates with us today. We covered three main things: the planning and the placement of your gates themselves, the nuts and bolts of an automated swing gate, and then the accessory options that you have. All right, thanks for checking out these gates today. I hope that was helpful. Make sure and like this video. It helps out a ton, and subscribe to the channel for more gates just like this.